Let's start with our first news. Khabib Nurmagomedov recently shared his thoughts on a potential UFC matchup between Ilia Topuria and Arman Tsarukyan, and his analysis was both sharp and revealing. According to Khabib, the odds heavily favor Arman, with Ilia having only around a 20% chance of winning if this fight is booked in the near future. Khabib explained that Arman's style creates serious problems for a fighter like Topuria. Arman has developed into an exceptional competitor who fights well at range, using his striking distance effectively and mixing in precise kicks that disrupt opponents' rhythm. Over the years, Arman has improved significantly, and with more fight footage available, his growth and evolution as a fighter are clear to see. Khabib even admitted that had this fight taken place 3 years ago, the UFC might not have been as cautious, but today Arman's skill set makes him a dangerous opponent. A key aspect of Khabib's breakdown was Arman's grappling ability. He noted that Arman is not only capable of taking opponents down efficiently, but also excels on the ground with heavy elbows, sharp submissions, and an ability to take the back. This combination of wrestling pressure and ground dominance makes him a nightmare matchup, particularly for fighters who rely primarily on striking. Khabib emphasized that Arman's wrestling is relentless, using leg grabs, body control, and sheer physicality to overwhelm opponents. When comparing physical attributes, Khabib pointed out that Arman holds a size advantage, being nearly 10 centimeters taller and naturally heavier than Ilia. This would make him the bigger and stronger fighter on the night, further tipping the balance in his favor. Wrestling, Khabib stressed, has always been a decisive factor in high-level MMA, and in this case, it would be the key weapon separating the two athletes. Khabib also highlighted that Ilia's career so far has mostly been against strikers. He has yet to face someone with elite-level wrestling, let alone a fighter like Arman, who combines pressure, size, and skill seamlessly. This, Khabib argued, makes the matchup particularly intriguing, but also extremely difficult for Topuria. Finally, Khabib noted that while Ilia is currently the bigger star, if Arman secures a major victory, his rise will be undeniable. His well-rounded skill set and constant evolution make him a rising force in the lightweight division. For Khabib, the fight would be not only a test of skill, but also a compelling clash of styles, striker versus wrestler, with the advantage squarely in Arman's favor. Moving on, another news, Demetrious Johnson, widely regarded as one of the greatest fighters in mixed martial arts history, recently shared his thoughts on Jon Jones and the concept of discipline in the sport. While Johnson made it clear that he deeply respects Jones's skills and accomplishments, he stopped short of calling him the most disciplined athlete in MMA. Instead, he drew a sharp contrast between natural talent and the consistent commitment required to maintain peak condition year-round. For Johnson, discipline is not just about performing inside the cage, it is about how a fighter lives and presents themselves every single day. He explained that even for something as minor as a photo shoot, he has always ensured he was in top physical shape. Johnson highlighted that, despite not competing as a heavyweight, he would still make sure he appeared shredded and conditioned. This, he said, is a reflection of his personal standards and unwavering dedication to maintaining excellence, no matter the circumstance. Comparing that mindset with Jon Jones, Johnson pointed out that the former light heavyweight and current heavyweight champion has often been seen out of shape, at times even carrying a visible belly. While Jones has always been able to get into fighting condition when necessary, Johnson emphasized that this inconsistency demonstrates a different level of discipline. He clarified that his remarks were not intended as personal attacks, but rather as factual observations meant to spark honest discussion about what true discipline means in combat sports. Johnson gave a vivid example, suggesting that if you showed a casual fan on the street a photo of Jones outside of camp and introduced him as the heavyweight champion of the world, that person might not immediately believe it based on his physical appearance. This, Johnson argued, underscores the difference between those who rely primarily on their extraordinary talent and those who uphold rigorous standards of fitness and discipline at all times. Despite his candid critique, Johnson made sure to reinforce his respect for Jones's unmatched fighting ability and his status as one of the greatest competitors of all time. His point, however, was that discipline extends beyond skill. It's about consistency, accountability, and setting a personal benchmark that doesn't waver. Johnson's remarks resonated with many fans because they offered a nuanced perspective. Even among elite athletes, the definitions of discipline and dedication can vary greatly, shaping the way fighters are perceived both inside and outside the cage. Moving on in other news, Magomed Ankalaev has officially responded to Khamzat Chimaev's recent remarks, and his words carry the tone of a confident and battle-tested contender. The light heavyweight powerhouse made it clear that he is open to facing Chimaev in the future, signaling that he is prepared for any challenge that comes his way. During the build-up to UFC 319, Khamzat had stirred conversation by suggesting he would be willing to fight the winner of the anticipated rematch between Ankalaev and Alex Pereira. He even hinted at the possibility of moving up in weight, chasing additional titles across divisions, and potentially targeting the light heavyweight crown. These bold statements immediately fueled speculation about blockbuster matchups that could reshape the UFC landscape. In response, Ankalaev, also known by fans as Ghoulie, addressed Chimaev's comments with both confidence and professionalism. He emphasized that if Khamzat chooses to move up in weight, he would have no hesitation stepping into the octagon with him. Ankalaev's calm but assured response showcased not only his respect for the sport, but also his readiness to defend his position against any elite fighter who dares to test him. This exchange between the two stars highlights the growing excitement across both the middleweight and light heavyweight divisions. Ankalaev's willingness to face Chimaev underscores his belief in his own skills and his commitment to staying at the top of the division. On the other hand, Chimaev's eagerness to seek high-stakes fights across multiple weight classes demonstrates his hunger to establish himself as one of the most dominant forces in UFC history. Ankalaev made it clear that he embraces any opportunity to fight high-level competition. His measured response reflects not only his competitive mindset, but also his determination to solidify his legacy in the sport. He recognized the possibilities that Chimaev laid out and showed that he is prepared to rise to the occasion no matter the circumstances. Both fighters bring immense power, skill, and strategy to the cage, and a potential clash between them would undoubtedly capture global attention. Ankalaev's statement sends a powerful message to the UFC and fight fans alike. He is not just another contender, he is a man on a mission to cement his dominance. His openness to challenges reaffirms why he is one of the most feared and respected fighters in the light heavyweight division today. New information has surfaced about Andrew Smith, the professional wrestler who was recently attacked by Raja Jackson in a shocking and violent incident. Smith, a former Army veteran, has openly shared that he has been living with PTSD since leaving the military. For him, wrestling was never just a career, it was a therapeutic outlet, a way to cope with his personal struggles and regain stability in civilian life. Smith revealed that he began wrestling professionally in 2009, shortly after completing his military service. Adjusting to civilian life proved challenging, and wrestling gave him something meaningful to focus on. Standing in front of crowds not only gave him purpose, but also helped him manage his anxiety, aggression, and trauma. Wrestling became a form of healing, offering him a sense of control and direction that had been missing since his time in the Army. The recent assault, however, has shaken the MMA and wrestling communities alike. The attack by Raja Jackson, caught on video, has drawn widespread condemnation. Many prominent voices in combat sports have spoken out against the brutality. Former UFC fighter Tom Lawler shared the video with a stern warning, saying, "Professional wrestlers, be careful who you trust. No one is watching out for you. Reckless actions like this have consequences." Similarly, UFC's Sean Strickland added a blunt remark, suggesting Raja may soon be joining him in anger management, while emphasizing the seriousness of the situation. Other fighters echoed these concerns. Ryan Garcia called the attack probably the worst thing I've watched in a while, urging the community to reflect on the dangers of streaming culture and how far some individuals go for online clout. Ben Askren took an even harder stance, arguing that Raja deserves prison time, stressing that 22 punches to an unconscious man could cause lifelong damage. Veteran fighter Derek Brunson admitted that at first he thought the video might have been a staged wrestling moment, but once he realized it was real, he strongly condemned it, warning that small disputes must never escalate into real violence. Meanwhile, Kevin Lee and Kevin Holland both brought a parental perspective, stressing the importance of accountability. Lee insisted Raja must face consequences, noting that attacking someone at work, unsuspecting and defenseless, was inexcusable. Holland criticized the idea of sharing violent clips for clout, arguing that such mistakes must be corrected privately, not glorified online. The incident has gone viral across social media, sparking memes, commentary, and heated discussions. Yet beneath the online buzz lies a very real call for justice and accountability, as the community rallies around Andrew Smith while demanding responsibility for Raja Jackson's brutal actions. Moving on, another news, Demetrious du Plessis has finally broken his silence following his tough loss to Khamzat Chimaev. In a heartfelt Instagram post, du Plessis shared his raw emotions and reflections, showing both humility and resilience in the aftermath of the fight. He began by expressing deep gratitude for the unwavering support of his family, friends, and fans, acknowledging the people who stand by his side regardless of whether he wins or loses. Du Plessis admitted that losing is something he despises, but he also recognized it as an essential part of the journey toward greatness. Without the bitter moments, he explained, the sweetness of victory would never be fully appreciated. The South African fighter candidly admitted that he is not a good loser, stating that being comfortable with losing only leads to more frequent defeats. Instead, he described himself as a passionate learner, someone who takes lessons from both the triumphs and the hardships of life. This particular setback, he revealed, has ignited an even stronger fire within him, fueling his determination to return stronger and prove himself on an even bigger stage. Du Plessis made it clear that he had no excuses for the outcome, admitting he was beaten fair and square by the better fighter that night. He congratulated Khamzat for the victory and thanked him for the honor of sharing the octagon, demonstrating genuine respect for his opponent. Interestingly, Khamzat himself responded to the post with a handshake emoji, a simple gesture that highlighted the mutual respect between the two warriors. Beyond his rival, Du Plessis extended his appreciation to fans worldwide and acknowledged the vital role his sponsors play in his journey. He also had a message for those who celebrated his loss. Rather than being discouraged, he promised he would rise again and prove them wrong, just as he has done in the past. Faith was another cornerstone of his message. Du Plessis spoke openly about trusting in the plan of his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, believing that his path is far from over and that greater victories lie ahead. His statement reflected maturity, resilience, and an unwavering drive to improve. What could have been a moment of despair was instead transformed into a lesson and an opportunity for growth. For Du Plessis, this loss was not the end. It was simply a stepping stone on the path to an even greater comeback. Moving on, another news. Jack Della Maddalena, better known as JDM, continues to stir up conversations across the welterweight division, and fans can't seem to agree on exactly where he ranks among the UFC's elite. His rapid rise has sparked a lively mix of debates, admiration, and humor throughout the MMA community. Many fans are in awe of his speed, joking that JDM's hands move so fast even a slow-motion camera can't keep up with him. Others, however, are quick to remind everyone that his championship status isn't just height, it's proof of his skill, dedication, and composure inside the octagon. Dismissing him outright, they argue, would be unfair given what he has already achieved at such a young stage of his career. Former UFC champion Tyron Woodley recently weighed in, saying that JDM wouldn't have been on his radar back in his prime. His comment instantly fueled fan debates, leading to countless what-if matchups. Social media lit up with hypotheticals. How would JDM have handled fighters like Carlos Condit or Robbie Lawler in their peak years? One fan cleverly compared the scenario to a protein shake facing a blender, highlighting how entertaining and unpredictable those battles could have been. Supporters praised JDM's incredible footwork, precise timing, and ability to create angles that make him a nightmare for opponents. At the same time, others argue that matchups against older champions would have been fascinating stylistic clashes. Fans even tossed in names like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, suggesting his unique striking could have tested JDM in a way few modern fighters have managed. The discussions have been more playful than divisive. Memes and jokes keep the tone lighthearted. One fan quipped, "If JDM throws a punch this fast, my coffee might need a helmet." Another questioned whether a particular dodge was genius strategy or just pure luck. These humorous takes show that even when fans disagree, the entertainment comes from the discussion itself. Ultimately, JDM's rise is fueling one of the most enjoyable fan debates in recent memory. Without needing to crown a definitive winner, MMA enthusiasts are finding joy in imagining past versus present scenarios, analyzing his skill set, and laughing at witty comparisons. Whether it's Woodley's perspective, old school versus new school hypotheticals, or simply appreciating JDM's speed and agility, the conversation around him continues to grow. What makes this buzz so powerful is that JDM's performances keep giving fans fresh material. Every fight adds new layers to the discussion, ensuring that his presence in the welterweight division isn't just about victories, it's about keeping the MMA community engaged, entertained, and always debating what could be next.